Hi everyone, welcome to Algo Crypto Trading Challenge 2022 briefing sessions and coding workshop. I'm Catherine, one of the subcommittees of Algo Challenge Association. And for our sharing sessions for today, I'll start off by giving you some introductions to our contest. Eric, who was our last year Algo Trading Challenge champion, will also be sharing with you the details for putting together the trading proposal deck. So hopefully you will have a better idea of what to expect in the first round. And we will also have a coding workshop followed by Tony. So make sure you stay towards the end so you don't miss out anything. And at the end, we'll also invite Vincent to give us a sharing on his experience, takeaways, and tips for the contest, because he was the champions of last year. And so without further ado, let's start with some introductions of our associations. So I'm pretty sure that majority of you who have applied for our competition this year already know that our associations is a nonprofit organization which holds algo trading contests with university and also professional communities. And indeed, throughout the past few years, we have successfully established a global presence. There were over 100 teams from different universities around the world that joined our previous competitions. And at the same time, we also provide trainings and also networking and employment opportunities related to asset management, blockchain technology, and big data, and so on and so forth. And our objective is to identify and nurture next generations of algo trading talents like you to advance in the fintech industry in different regions. As you can see, we have held 3 competitions previously with the themes on FX, commodities, and equity index CFDs. And following the crypto contest this year, we are proposing a US equity for the upcoming challenge, which is happening in April 2023. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all of you for applying for our contest. And we're very glad to share that our participating university for this year have doubled than before. And in addition to the 8 local universities in Hong Kong, we're also very happy to welcome bright students from some of the best universities in the world, including but not limited to Ivy League from the States, SMU, NTU from Singapore, Indian Institutes of Management, as well as university from South Africa, China, and France. Most importantly, the success of our competition is also attributed to the support of our sponsor, including Microsoft, Topaz Investment, and Crypto Research, as well as InvestTalk. Some of the supporting organizations are AlgoGene, AlgoBots, Finbox, Vio, just to name but a few. So here comes the contest timeline that I assume most of you are interested in. So please note that the first round is due in 21st of August, which is around a month later. And after the first round of result announcement on the last day of August, the shortlisted teams will be qualified for the second round for back testing and code submission. The deadline is on 23rd of October, and by the end of the month, you will also get to know the results. And there will be 2 months for the live paper trading, and the final day and award ceremony will be held in 8th of January, 2023. So moving on, you may wonder that so moving on is our sharing session. So for the first round, we will have so each of you will be grouped into 1 to 4 members in the group and prepare that consists of not less than 15 slides. So I'll pass the time to Eric to introduce or to brief you more on this part of the contest. So Eric, please.
So hello, this is Eric. Now I'm going to share the trading proposal and will help you to walk through the procedures. So now I'm going to share screen first. So can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So here, the first part will be the cover page. You need to include your name and the team name. And second, there are 5 areas that we want to know. The first part will be the exact summaries. For example, the high-level descriptions of your trading ideas. In here, you can we want to have a brief ideas of your trading strategies, maybe in 1 or 2 sentences. And for the second part, we also want to know the trading philosophy and hypothesis behind your strategies. Will there be any assumptions and what how you come up with these strategies? And next, we want to know about what financial market instruments you are going to apply to. For example, which coin are you referring to? And what kind of data and inputs your strategies use? What kinds of data you will need for your training, for your models? And these are the things that we want to know in the executive summaries. And next, it will be the implementation details. We want to know the exact trading logic. Apart from the executive summaries, we want you to focus on writing the details of the strategies and what conditions will trigger the trading signal and how you define the trading models. Will there be any formulas and which model will you use it? And what theories or methodologies do you apply during the implementations? And is there any assumptions that you made during the model training and executing the trading logics? And thirdly will be the risk management. We do emphasize on the risk management of your trading strategies. What will be the risk factors? And we also want to know what is the worst scenarios of your algo and how do you manage your risk? Will there be a risk modeling and will you set a stop loss for your strategies? Is it portfolio wise or by trade or by both? And these are the things that we want to know because risk is very important in algo trading. And for the capital management, we want to know, does your strategies utilize the investment capital and how you manage the liquidity of your strategies? And is it scalable? And what will be the minimum capital to execute your strategies? Because we want to know if your algos works when the capital size increase to institutional level, and will there be any advantages or disadvantages when the capital's amount is different? And the last part will be the expectations for real life implementations. Besides of the details of your strategies, we want to know the advantages and disadvantages of your algo in the real life situations. Like for example, what market situations will be unfavorable to you, and can your strategies fully automated for different market scenario, for example, bullish or bearish market, and the frequency of your strategies, and what will be the ideal investment size to execute your strategies. If there's any potential issues for real trading that you want to let us know, please include it in this area. And that's pretty much for the trading proposal. And please be reminded that the deadline for the submissions will be 27th of August, 21st of August. And this is pretty much for the proposal sharing, and good luck and thank you.
So before we move on to the next sharing sessions by Tony, if you guys have any question, feel free to type in the chat box or unmute yourself to ask Eric. So is there any questions?
Yes, the slide will be provided later.
I think someone direct messaged me asking, are we allowed to backtest existing strategies that were proposed by famous algo traders? Would this be regarded as plagiarism? Thank you.
For the best testing, I think Tony will cover that part, and I think it won't be considered as a plagiarism, and because you are just back testing the result, right?
Did that answer your questions? I think log main 5. Okay, great. So if you guys have, okay, so there's not a questions. I think for questions that are regarding coding and also back testing, Tony will be covering on that later. So if you guys have other questions that is related to the topic, you may jot it down first, and we'll also have a Q&A session after Tony's sharing. So other than that, is there any other questions that it's specific for the first round?
I think for the questions that trading products mentioned in the email, arbitrage selected and combined, I think it's possible. Do we need presentations for the first round? We do not need presentations for the first round. The presentations will be on the third round. Thank you. So if you have any other questions after the sharing sections, please email me or email Catherine for more details. So feel free to email us. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. So maybe we'll move on to the sharings on another round. So for the second round of our competition, it will be so the teams will code their trading algorithm and test on Algo, which is a backtesting engine, and the sharing will be arranged towards the end of our sharing today. And for our last round, each team would need to compete in out sample forward test and live paper trading. So as mentioned, for this round, the duration will be 2 months, and we will select teams that is best in best return, best sharp, and best strategy. And a lot of you may wonder what are the prizes for our competition. Each year, we evaluate our teams based on, as mentioned, the best return, best sharp, and best strategy design. There will be 3 winning teams for each category, and the winners will be awarded with cash prize of up to $1,000 and a chance to get their Algo minted as NFT in OpenSea, internship, or even full-time opportunities from the organizers, as well as free subscriptions of backtesting engine and ACA membership, which provides you with a lot of networking opportunities with fund manager and industry professionals. So these details about the competition, including the timeline, what to submit, and the award details are all included on our website. So feel free to check our official website if you need any in the future for reference. And to give you a bit more background on how the crypto trading works, as ACA contest are the first ever worldwide contest using NFT and blockchain. So here's some important points to note. Algo codes are encrypted and recorded in NFT with a creator name and timestamp to protect owner's IP. And our blockchain technology supports ETH, IOTA, Polygon. And there are a few that will be mentioned later on during Tony's sharing sessions. And each trade record during the live paper trading period is recorded in the IOTA with timestamps. So last but not least, before I pass the time to Vincent to share his experience on the previous Algo Trading Challenge, if you guys are interested in knowing more about Algo ideas and our past competitions, feel free to check out some of the press release from this website. And we also have a video on YouTube that has a brief introductions of our contest this year. So now may I pass the time to Vincent to share some of his experience and takeaways. Vincent, please.
So thank you, Catherine. So maybe I can share my screen first. Okay, so hi everyone, this is Vincent. I'm honored to be here to share with you all some of my experience in last year's competition. So here are some of the things we'll try to cover today. And first, a little bit about myself. So I'm an undergraduate student at CUHK, and I minor in quantitative finance and risk management science. And I'm one of the winners in last year's competition, which is an Algo FX trading challenge. So maybe I could first start by sharing some of the challenges faced. First of all, we all have to learn how to use the Algo backtesting engine. And it's a sort of proprietary software developed by Algo, and it supports a lot of different backtesting functions, and it's quite a sophisticated engine to use. So at the beginning stage of the competition, it's essential to learn how to properly use the engine and to backtest a strategy that you truly desired. And the next challenge that we will face is to collect historical price data. Of course, the Algo backtesting engine will provide all the historical data we need, but when you develop models and when you try to fit different data into your models, you may want to have a separate environment to do that. And so you have to find a source which is high quality and high frequency enough to provide you with all the data you need. And the third thing is to build a local backtesting framework. Because the AlgoGene backtesting engine is quite sophisticated and complicated, it may not be ideal to start coding a strategy on AlgoGene at the beginning. So it's best to try to test your ideas on the local environment and see how things go. And of course, the final challenge is to come up with a profitable strategy. And this is something we will try to dig deeper in later in the session. And let's start by trying to come up with our strategies. There are basically two parts when you have to develop your strategies. The first one is to come up with a hypothesis about the markets. And the second one is to backtest your idea. So how do you come up with trading ideas? The first method is to read academic papers. Most academic papers are freely accessible online. And there are a lot of different trading methodologies and models that you could try to adapt in your own system. And of course, you can also try to generate your own hypothesis based on your experience or observation on the markets. And given those ideas, we have to backtest those trading ideas rigorously with the historical data. So some common pitfalls of developing strategies, you may have already heard some of them. Survivorship bias and look-ahead bias, which are simply using data in the future to make decisions in the past. So for example, let's say that we already know that Bitcoin has maybe increased, I don't know, 1,000 folds in the past 10 years. So a simple strategy would be simply to buy and hold Bitcoin. But would that work in the future? Maybe not. So the problem with this method is that we are using data in the future to make decisions in the past. And this is something that is known as survivorship bias or look-ahead bias. And there's also overfitting. Most of the time, trading models would have various parameters, and it's very easy to fit the parameters to historical data. But that model may not be able to generalize in the future, and therefore would produce dissatisfactory performance out of sample data. And also one common pitfall is neglecting the impact of slippage and commissions. So basically, every time you transact in the market, there's a certain transaction costs. And that transaction cost is quite minimal, but that difference could make a profitable strategy not so profitable because it adds up over time. So something to pay attention in this competition, the asset class is limited to crypto only, so no trading stocks, forex or commodities or anything else. And strategies must be coded on AlgoGene backtesting platform, which means that we will all have to get familiar with the platform and know how to use the functions in the backtesting platform. Also, price data, economic data, news data, weather data are all available. So we don't only have to restrict ourselves to analyzing historical price data. We can also try to produce alpha by analyzing economic data, or maybe by scraping Elon Musk's Twitter feed. Maybe that could also provide some trading signals that are profitable. Also, the fourth thing is that historical backtest and live paper forward test will be conducted. So it's strongly advised not to overfit historical data because your strategy might perform badly during the live paper trading period. So considering the asset class is crypto, there are different features and different drawbacks and pros and cons. So only a few years of historical data are available, which means that there might not be that many data for you to analyze. But at the same time, high quality and high frequency data can be easily obtained online. So while the period of historical data may not be long, you can try to focus more on high frequency trading strategies, and maybe that can make your trading strategy more resilient to future market changes. Also, when trading crypto, we also have to account for the extreme volatility compared to traditional markets. And crypto is expected to be highly efficient compared to traditional markets. And this is actually a good thing for all of us because it makes us makes the task of finding strategies more effortless. And the first point I would like to mention is that we all have to choose our tradable universe carefully because there are so many different cryptos and each of them have different features. So there are stable coins, there are coins related to different ecosystems, and it may be worth to try to understand the function of each crypto and maybe some characteristics of the crypto before choosing what to trade on. So some possible strategies to try. We could try to exploit recurring behaviors with technical indicators. We could try some arbitrage strategies like triangular arbitrage or pairs trading. You could also even try to apply natural language processing to news, maybe even market making or neural networks. And of course, this list of strategies are by no means exhaustive. There are so many different strategies to try, and it's up to you to try different strategies and to maybe even think of some new ones. So something that it's strongly advised not to do. We would strongly advise not to arbitrage across exchanges. Normally in real life, that wouldn't be a problem, but in this competition, only one data source would be provided for each crypto. So the data provider for this competition is Binance. So it would be technically impossible to trade Bitcoin on Binance and Bitcoin on maybe Bitstamp, for example. So this approach is technically infeasible. And it's also advised not to try some sort of long-term buy and hold. This may work very well in the past. For example, if you start holding Bitcoin 10 years ago, you would have performed very well, but it may not work in the future. And a profitable backtest does not suggest anything in the future anymore. So this is something to beware of. And of course, anything that suggests a biased approach is not recommended, such as shorting Terra USD, which we all know has plummeted to almost zero. So a possible workflow for this competition, you may want to first start by collecting some crypto data and building a local backtesting framework, and then try to generate and test as many trading ideas as possible. The ideas may come from yourself, maybe from academic papers or from online sources. It doesn't matter as long as you test it rigorously enough and to use only those that are profitable. And of course, make sure that the strategy is not overfitted. And finally, try to implement the strategy on Algo and see whether you get the same results as your local backtesting results. So this is the end of my presentation. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and wish you all the best of luck and happy algo trading. So may I pass the time to Tony to share with you some tips on coding on the Algo backtesting platform.
Thank you, Vincent, for the sharing. Okay, my name is Tony Lam, the founder of Algo and also vice chairman of the Algo Association. For this, here is the agenda of this workshop. As I know, all of you are coming from different backgrounds, and some of you even don't have any background about the Algo trading area. So first of all, I will try to give you an overview about what Algo trading is doing, and then I'll try to introduce the backtest system that you're going to implement the trading strategy. And we will walk through a coding exercise using a very simple RSI trading strategy. And then I will discuss some advanced usage of the platform. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat box and we'll answer at the end of this session. So what is algo trading? Actually, algo trading is also called quantitative trading or program trading. The idea is to, based on computer program, to automate the order execution workflow or to generate some market insights. For some institutional investor, the objective of algo trading does not only to make profit, they can also be used to control execution costs or to manage market risk. In fact, algo trading has many advantages over the human trading. For example, it can free you up from closely monitor the financial market, and you can also test your trading strategy using some historical data before risking your real money. Also, algo trading also based on a computer firm approach, so that you can coverage of human emotion and can also increase your trading discipline. More importantly, algo trading can help you to generate passive income. So how do we start with algo trading? Actually, for many professional algo traders, they will probably go through this algo trading life cycle. So the first one is the research stage, where we need to source, we need to come up with our own trading ideas. And you can source it from a textbook, from a lecture, or from some other research paper. So whenever you come up with trading ideas, the next stage is to backtest your trading strategy. In this stage, you need to formulate your trading idea into a programming language and to instruct the computer how to execute your logic, and then to apply your trading strategy over historical environment to see how you perform in the past. So let's say you come up, you already got a very promising backtesting results. The next stage is the paper trading stage, where you will, based on a real-time data feed, to simulate your transaction and see whether the trading performance is consistent with the backtesting results. The backtesting, the paper trading stage is very important because for sometimes if we conduct the backtesting inappropriately, we may fall into the trap of overfitting. So the backtesting stage, the paper trading stage actually based on some out of sample and unseen data set to verify whether your trading performance is consistent. So maybe after 1 or 2 months of the paper trading, you will have more confidence to deploy your algo for real trading, and then you will continue monitoring the algo performance. Let's say at the beginning, your equity curve may go 45 degrees up, and maybe after some times, the algo performance decay and the equity curve become flat. And at that time, it may imply that your algo may not adaptive to the market at that moment. Therefore, it may suggest that you need to further fine-tune your trading strategy to introduce more factor, etc. Therefore, you will go back to the research stage and repeat the cycle again and again. Okay, I think from here you have a general idea what we are doing. Actually, in this comparison, we will focus more on the first 3 stages. The first one, in the first one, you write your trading proposal, you come up with your trading ideas, and then in the second one, you will put your trading idea in the algorithm platform and to derive to evaluate the trading algorithm. And then you will have 2 months of paper trading to based on real-time finance data to compete your algo with each other.
Hi, Tony. Sorry to interrupt. I think some attendees, they are not very clear on, so they can't really listen very clearly. Do you mind to speak closer to the microphone?
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll start the video. Okay, can you hear me? Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the backtesting part, actually we have already sent you the login account a week before. So if you haven't received the email, please contact us as soon as possible. The online platform, the beta system is basically an online platform, so you can log in the algochain.com, just right here. And after you log in the platform, you can go to the top right corner and go to the backtest part. Here is the coding environment for you to develop your trading algorithm. So in this part, there are two. The right-hand side here is a control panel for you to set up the environment, the backtest environment. For example, you can specify the strategy name, the test period, the data interval to use. For example, if we are targeting for day trading strategy, a one-day open high close would be sufficient. If we have a more high-frequency trading strategy, 1 minute or data would be more useful. And we try to specify the initial capital amount and also the currency. For many crypto exchange, USD will mostly be used as a settlement currency. And then we can specify whether our trading strategy need to take some leverage. For example, by default, the value is set to 1, which means we don't take any leverage. If we set the value to 10, that means our stock is originally worth 10,000 US dollar. If we have 10 times leverage, that means we can just use 10% of cash, that is 1,000 to purchase a stock. Actually, in this competition, one of the judgment criteria is whether your trading strategy is practical and it has the potential to trade in the real market. Just for your reference, for many crypto exchange right now, like Binance, FTX, or Coinbase, they support at most 5 times of account leverage. So please, you can specify a more realistic assumption here. We don't suggest you specify 100 or 1,000 if it is not tradable in real life. So for the transaction cost here, actually at the beginning, we suggest you to simplify everything and just input a 0 number here, because it is more easier for you to identify whether your trading strategy has the potential to make profit or to evaluate whether your model has the prediction power to predict from the market. And then the enable short sell will specify whether your trading strategy can do short selling. And here, actually, our platforms support other alternative data like the news data, weather, economic data, etc. So it is also flexible for you to test on this kind of data stream. And in this competition, we have shortlisted around 35 of cryptocurrency for you. And it is among the largest cryptocurrency and has sufficient historical data for you to play with. So when you write your trading proposal, please restrict your product scope into this currency pair. For the position mapping, maybe I can explain using this slide. Actually, the position mapping is for puzzle close scenario. Let's take a look for this example. Suppose you buy 2 shares of a particular instrument at 1 to 3 and sell 1 share at 1 to 4 and sell another share at 1 to 5. So if we disable the position mapping button, your total P&L is actually unrealized, and you are still subject to the market spread fluctuation. And all these three chains will be regarded as a separate transaction. So you need to explicitly close the three orders in order to realize your profit. And on the other hand, if your position mapping is enabled, the order will be offset based on first in first out approach, and whenever the position is not to zero, your P&L will be realized. And for such case, and for this case, your total P&L will be realized at $3. So it depends on your trading strategy. So if your strategy has some kinds of partial close features, we suggest you to enable the position button. However, if you are focusing on some kind of one order transaction management, you can just disable the position mapping. I think it provides it is a bit clear enough for the environment setup. Let's go further into the coding part. So when you log in the system, you will see there are some Python code by default. Actually, this code specify the basic skeleton of your chain logo. Maybe I can talk about this slide first. Actually, when we talk about backtesting, it is just like replaying a recorder. For example, the system will push out data one by one according to the historical occurrence of each data. For example, zero, it may be a market data update. Time one, it could be a news data update. And the second, and the next second, it could be the market data update for another store, and so on and so forth. And therefore, when we look back into this script, those kind of market data feed or news data feed, it can be regarded as a listener. When there are some new data update from the server, you will receive a corresponding update from this function. So for your strategy, you can specify your variable at the init function at the beginning, and the algo will kickstart. And after that, the server will push out the data according to your data selection, and then we will got the subsequent data update from this function. So for your task, you can just simply specify what to do to what is your logic to handle the those kind of market data update, and when to trigger a trade, a particular transaction. So the system will evaluate whether your trade is acceptable or not, and then will update your order status, the position status, and P&L status, etc. So it is basically summarize the whole data processing workflow on the system. So let's take a look for some useful API functions. So the basic one is how to debug your code. So we can take a look for this API function, the console log. This one. So here you can use the self-event console log function to specify to print out your in some calculation step or some debug message. Okay, right up here. So for example, we try to So suppose we want to print out the market data that we receive from this function, we can specify the function here, just like this. So you can just in this example, you can see you will print out the market data because here we specify using daily data, so you can see print out the daily data every day. So the next function I want to introduce is the get historical data function. Actually, in this function, the market data feed, it is a streaming function. Actually, you can specify you can initialize your own array and then to hang the data step by step. But we also support another API function for you to query the historical data. And you can look into this function. This is the get historical path function. It requires to specify three parameter input. The first one is specify which contract you want to query. For example, we just target for cryptocurrency. We just need to specify the instrument. We don't need to specify the other expiry wise, etc. These are preserved for future and option contract. And we also need to specify how many number of bar we want the API to return in the data interval. So just like in this example, we try to query the past 10-day $, open holocaust data, and we can just use this function like this. And we print out the result to the console, and you'll see the output will be similar to this one. Okay, another important function is the send order function. Actually, you need to firstly define your order object, and then you will based on the send order function to submit this order. In this order object, you can do it in two ways. The first one is just use this as a function input. We specify your instrument name, the buy sell direction, the trading volume, etc. You use it as a function input. And on the other hand, you can also do it as an object-oriented programming. You specify, you initialize the object first, and then you update the data attribute one by one. We both are okay on the system. For example, here if you want to submit a market order, you can specify the order type to be 0, and if it is a limit order, it should be 1. And then for the buy sell, 1 will be for buy and -1 for sell order. And then the order reference is a user-defined parameter where you can use this to link up and to manage your own transaction. For example, if you have a pair trading strategy, you can define your own pair ID to link up two different transactions, and you can, based on the order reference, to specify the pair ID. Here you can into this base order function, and here also some other type that you can specify, like of level, stop loss, etc. You can look into the technical document later. Okay, let's take a look on this RSI strategy. I think most of you have heard of the relative strength index. Basically, the RSI is an oscillator function where the value will fluctuate between 0 and 100. And when the RSI value is very low, it will say it is an oversold, the market is oversold, and therefore it suggests a buy signal. And on the other hand, if the RSI value is very high, we will say it is an overbought, and therefore you will suggest a sell signal. So in this case, in this example, let's just choose a 14-day RSI, and also we specify the oversold and overbought level to be 40 and 70. So if we follow this trend strategy, we will probably buy at this point, and then sell at this point. So we need to formulate our trading ideas step by step. So the first step is to collect the historical closing price, because when we calculate the RSI, we will use the past 14-day closing price to do the calculation. So the first step is to collect the previous 14-day closing price, and then the next step is to calculate the latest RSI value, and then we proceed for the order opening condition tracking. So if we have no outstanding position, and if RSI value is less than 30, we will open a buy order. And on the other hand, if RSI value is higher than 70, we will submit a sell order. So it is simple. For the order closing condition, we will check if we have any outstanding position. If we previously submit a buy order and now the RSI value reverts back to about 50, we will close the buy order. And on the other hand, if we previously submit a sell order and now RSI value drop below 50, we will close the sell order. And suppose we are focusing on day trading strategy, and we will repeat this kind of order condition tracking every day. So we will iterate on this logic every day. So we can take a look for the cutting cost. So first of all, we will need to import those necessary platform package. For example, we will import the TA lib library to do the RSI calculation. And then we will try to initialize our trading parameter on the RSI period, the RSI overbought or oversold level at the initialization step here. And then here I will use the end event subscribe list function to extract the selected instrument. That is this part. That is this one. Actually, here we can specify multiple instruments here. So here, the M event subscribe list actually is an array of all the subscribed, all the selected items here. The 0 means the first selected item. So for our case, it would be the BTC USD. So, and then we specify a timer to check whether it is new trading days. So if it is new trading days, we will update the timer every 24 hours. And then we use the get historical bar function to map the previous, actually the previous 15 days, 15 observation. Because when we calculate the RSI value, we need the RSI period plus 1 observation in order to do the calculation. And here we use the because when we do the RSI calculation, we just take out the closing price. So and here we take a next loop to get all the closing price from this open high close array. So and then we based on the RSI function to calculate the RSI value and extract the latest one. And we use the console log function to print out the RSI value. So this one. So you can see, as you can see here, we just based on daily data to do the RSI calculation, and you can see here are the RSI value every day. Okay. So let's go further for our order entry. So we further define our RSI overall and also level the visualization step, and also we specify a last trade ID. Actually, when you into this trading logic here, if we have no outstanding position, we will check whether we will check our transaction, and if we have outstanding position, we will skip this checking. And therefore, at any time, we will either have 0 position or we will have only 1 transaction. And therefore, we in this trade strategy, we just use we would just based on this variable to lock down our previous executed transaction ID. And to simplify the code, here I define another function for the open order, and to specify the corresponding buy-sell direction. Here, just like what I mentioned before, we define our order object first, and to specify the trading instrument, and then we are trying to open order, and the buy-sell direction will be specified. In this function input, and we will use a market order for order execution, and the trading volume is always set to 0.01 log. And then the same order function will just submit this order to the server. Okay. Okay, we can go back to the market data feed function written previously. So we previously computed the RSI function to compute the RSI value, and next we will try to check whether we have outstanding position. So here I will try to introduce another API function to get system order. Yeah, and this get system order API will return 3 output. The first one is our outstanding position. The second one is our outstanding transaction. And the third one is the unfilled pending order, unfilled limit order in the order book. So here we can just take out the position and get our current net volume of our BTC USD. So if we have zero outstanding position, we'll proceed for checking whether the RSI value is overbought or oversold. So let's say the RSI value is about 70, we'll submit a sell order. If RSI value is less than 30, we'll submit a buy order. So that's it for the order entry condition checking. So for order exit part, so actually we need to firstly extract the JID from the system. So we will look into this on order fit. You can either use the outstanding order from this API function, or you can based on the order status update from this on order fit function. So for example, for this time, I try to focus on this function. So when the system confirm our order is submitted successfully, then we will extract the system transaction ID from here. And then we specify, we will also define another close order function. And we will, in this close order function, we will specify the transaction ID that we are trying to close. So we will further supplement or market data feed function here. So previously we checked whether our position is zero or not. If it is zero, we proceed for order entry condition checking. If we have outstanding position, we'll check whether there is order exit condition. So if our position is positive, that means we previously submit a buy order, and now if the RSI value go back to 50, we will close, we will execute the close order. And on the other hand, if the position is previously a sell order and RSI value now drop below 50, we will submit the close order. We will execute the close order function here. And here is the full script. So we can take a look. Okay, because here I specify I disable the short selling function, and therefore here the RSI value is higher than we can't submit a sell order if we don't have positive inventory. So let me the short selling here. So you can see there are some transaction trigger here. And here is the performance report of this trading strategy. So when you look into the backtest performance, there are a few things for you I want to share. The first one is about the capital usage. So actually in this chart, when you put your mouse on this chart, there will be three values. The highest one is the net asset value, which means your current account value. And the gap here is the how much capital you spend on purchasing the crypto or some stock inventory, etc. And the light blue part is the remaining cash in your account. So here you can see whether your chain strategy can utilize the capital. And the second one is about the equity drawdown. Here we have there are quite a number of performance statistics here. Apart from the annualized return, you should also take a look for the Sharpe ratio and also the maximum drawdown. These are quite critical statistics for you to evaluate whether trading strategy is good or not. So for this this time, because I just used randomly take RSI period to be 16 and 40 as an example, the performance is not very good, but you can based on it to further study whether how to further improve this trading strategy. So I think this the RSI strategy should be clear enough for you to understand how to use the API function on the platform. Here are also some advanced usage. So for example, if you want to do more to backtest analysis or do some data analysis on the news data, the market data, etc., we have Jupyter Notebook on the platform. Yeah, you can also on our Jupyter Notebook, you can also use the similar historical bar function to do the data analysis. Go to here. So you can go to my history and then Jupyter Notebook. Here you can use a similar get historical bar function to extract the data set and to see to do further analysis here. For example, if you have a pair trading idea, pair trading strategy idea, you may try to visualize whether a particular crypto pair they actually have the same chain. And you can also do some scatter plot, etc., and do correlation calculation. Yeah, and here we also you can also apply the same API function for the economic statistic API, the news API, etc. So it is so I just leave it for you to study. So another one is about the custom library. So let's say you have So let's say you have trained up your own model in a local machine. This article provide step-by-step guide how you can upload the model on the system and then use it for the backtesting. Yeah. Just like this example, suppose your model called my model divided in your local machine, and this model have three functions. Different add, and then you can upload the whole package on the lib directory here. So you can go to my history and then here to custom file. So you can upload your model here. So after that, in your backtest group, you can include your model right after the initialization of the backtest environment here. And then you can specify, you can make your function as a globally accessible function. And then the function can be callable in market data feed later. So here we just use my difference function to calculate the market spread between the ask price and bid price. And you can come up with the result something like this. So another use case is about if you have some external data set that you want to plug in for testing. You can also do it similarly on the platform. For example, in this article, it try to upload the market data downloaded from Yahoo Finance and do testing. Actually, in this comparison, as you will have 2 months like paper trading from November to December. So if you have external data set that you want to plug in the platform, so please make sure you also need to update your data set on during the live trading period. So when you upload your data to the system, you also need to specify the data specification, like the page format, the column of the open codes, etc. And then you can do the backtesting process similarly. So another use case is how to reuse trading model for another backtest. So here in this article, let's say in your first backtesting, you have trained up a particular trading model and you want to use the same model to conduct another backtest. Actually, you can follow this article. It provide it allow you to dump your model to your custom file directory here. Here, just like this one, you can dump your model after the backtest training. and then you can reuse your model later. So for another backtest, you can load your model from the custom file directory. So I think you provide a very advanced use case just for different scenario. So if you have any question, just type into the chat box.
Hi, Tony. I wonder what is the environment setting for the second round backtest?
You mean this one?
Yeah. Like the leverage.
Yeah, actually, it is subject to your strategy design. For example, some of you some of the strategy can change at a very minimal change amount. Some of you target for a large portfolio. It depends on your setting. But for my personal suggestion for the currency, because we try to make sure your trading strategy is practical, and also it could be it has the potential to deploy for real market. So you should better try to simulate a real trading account. For example, the base currency, most of the corporations support by default they use US dollar as a settlement currency. The leverage, just like in Binance, FTX, etc., they support at most 5 times of account leverage.
So you mean we can set different leverage, and what about the transaction costs? Like different transaction costs definitely will make a lot of difference.
Actually, in this comparison, we don't take care of those kind of funding costs. But in real market, we can assume there may be $1 to $2 per each transaction as a commission fee.
Okay, so which means this competition we don't consider the transaction cost, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Hi, Tony.
Yes.
Can we download this API in our computer? Because I want to use VS Code to do this competition. So because I'm not that really familiar for the platform, and also much more that want to do the best testing on my computer first. Is that okay to download this API?
Actually, due to data licensing reasons, we do not allow this kind of data download using the REST API or some other downloadable format like CSV, etc. We suggest all participants to maybe you can based on the Jupyter notebook to do the data analysis, etc. And on the other hand, as in this competition, we basically we based on the Binance crypto data to run the competition. So if you have if you have access to the Binance data separately, it is also okay for you to do the analysis by yourself.
I
Yeah,
think,
got it. Thank you.
I think a couple participants asked if they could get the PPT afterwards. Yes, we will share all of the PPT that we have shared today with you all, so no worries about it.
Yeah, we will provide the recording and all the PowerPoint today after this session.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's also a couple questions that is typed on the chat. So there's one from Kenny. Kenny asks, is that possible for us to access Algo API in other IDEs like PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook?
Yeah, as I just demoed previously, we support the calling the Algo API from the Jupyter Notebook.
And another question from Steve. He asks, how will AlgoGene deal with those codes from the teams not winning? Presume no NFT will be minted.
Actually, all your code in the platform is encrypted, and actually we won't access to your code. And actually, we will only mint the NFT for the winner.
So hopefully, Steve, that answer your questions. And let's move on to CK. CK got two questions. He asks, is there any API or WebSocket provided for the competition? And the end period of the backtest data, was that limited to 2020 to 2012?
So first of all, for the API parts, actually, all your trading algorithm will be coded on the AlgoGene platform, and for the backtesting parts, and also during the 2-month live paper trading, and therefore we don't provide the REST API or WebSocket for you to develop on your local environment. And then for the backtesting period, actually we provide 3 years of full tech data set from 2018 to 2020 for you to do the backtesting. But I would suggest you to split your own data set into 2 parts, like maybe you use the first 2 years to train up your model, and you use the remaining 1 year to verify your own model.
So hopefully that answers CK's questions. And regarding the NFT algorithm, we actually only award-winning algorithm would be minted in NFT, and some outstanding will also be considered. If it is outstanding, then like what we have done previously, we will also consider them to be minted into the NFT for the algorithm.
Hi Tony, you just mentioned the only the winner's code will be maintained. I wonder if you don't have the access to the other participants' code, how would you evaluate our strategy? Do you only evaluate it through the performance of strategy, or you will also look at the code?
So basically, there are three rule in this computation: the best swap, the best return, and also the best strategy design. For the best swap, we will randomly select another 1 year out of sample data set to test out your algorithm. So it is a more subjective. It is more an objective measurement to base on the performance statistic. And also the best return will be determined using the 2-month live trading period. Yeah, we actually, for these two parts, we won't take care about your code. And for the best strategy design, if you are shortlisted to enter into the fund 1, you will present your trading ideas and also the whole backtesting results to a panel of judges. And they will evaluate how good, how your trading strategy is practical and whether it has the potential. Yeah.
So what is kind of tricky here is actually we can get the out of sample data easily, especially for the crypto data. And so that will be possible for us to write an output strategy based on the data of feeding data. So we can, kind of cheating using the out of sample data, if that allowed, if you don't look at our code.
Actually, it is very hard for us to even if we access to your code and look into your code logic, it is also very hard for us to evaluate whether your model is based on the full history of Bitcoin to train up your model, or you just use our provided in-sample data set to train. Yeah, it is very difficult for us to do this kind of evaluation as well.
So you just won't evaluate, right? Like previously, I think I forgot his name, but last year's winner also said we're not suggested to build a strategy like based on the Luna crypto. That's I don't know. I don't know whether you get what I mean. So he suggests we are not using the future information to build a strategy based on future information. So that really confused me about what you said.
Maybe I could maybe add a bit more on that. So what I mean is that because there will be a live paper trading round, which starts from roughly October to December, if I remember correctly, and you have to submit the code before that round starts. So even if you optimize your code in the 2021 period, you won't be able to optimize it during the live paper trading round. So the rewards are also given based on the performance on that live paper trading round. So it's so we could also test whether your code actually works in a never seen before period. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Also, I have one more question. Tony, I wondered how long it takes for us to run a 2-year like mini frequency strategy on our backtest system.
You means you want take level data tick level, you apply the tick data.
Yeah. For 2-year period, because I saw you now you're using daily data and it takes a few seconds. So if it's a tick data, will it be very long, like a couple of hours to run the
Yeah,
back test?
I think it will take around a day. Yeah.
Oh, 1 day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Do we have the runtime? Do we have the runtime restriction for this strategies? Because like if we use the tick data, so it might, as you say before, you may take about 1 day to run the whole best testing. So does it have some restriction for the time as we submit the code?
So actually, you just need to submit your code before this date, and we will based on your code to apply another out of 1 year of sample period to test your code.
My question is that so for example, if I do 2 years best testing, so maybe as you mentioned before, it will take about 1 day to run the code. So I don't know whether is it will it crush your server or not, because when we a lot of group that submit the code, and then when you do the best testing or live trading or not, maybe it will crush your server or something.
No need to concern, no need to worry about it. Actually, we are using the Microsoft cloud server to handle this kind of computing.
Okay, thanks.
I think there are some more questions in chat. And so one question's on someone asked, it seems that there are some predefined classes and function. Can we not use them?
Actually, you just only need to focus on your backtesting script here, because when you do the 2-month live paper trading, you just need to deploy your script directly, and there is no need to further amend your code. Just like this one, you can just select your backtester script and deploy for the live paper trading. Yeah, there's no need for you to develop everything again.
Someone also wonder how to export the data into a CSV file.
Actually, we don't suppose, we don't, in this competition, we don't support those REST API or WebSocket for you to download the data. So if you really need to get the data for to analyze in a local environment, you may just copy the data here, or you can go to the Jupyter Notebook. You can go to the Jupyter Notebook and do a direct copy. Yeah, you can just copy the data to your local machine if you really need to do that.
So that it's not required. It's not required to convert the codes into a CSV file for the contest. And so someone also asked if we found a better strategy in second round, can our code in second round totally different from what we proposed in the first round?
And that's why we in our previous email we suggest you to log in to data system and have a trial first whether your training strategy is actually implementable on the platform. And actually we suggest the second one, your code in the second one will follow what you have proposed in the first one. If it is totally different, we may have some consideration whether to proceed your team to the live training one.
Okay, got it. So considering the latency, so does our participant has to consider the latency during back testing in this challenge?
You can assume low latency because we will handle this kind of latency on our back end.
Mm-hmm. Great. So another questions is asking, do we have a hypothetical initial capital in this competition?
No, it depends on your strategy design. You have the flexibility to design your desired initial investment capital.
Mm-hmm. Can the participant trade the Coinbase futures?
In this competition, we suppose the product nature is perpetual future. Yeah.
Got it. And from Hindi, asking, are the price impact from the market participation considered during back testing?
Actually, this kind of impact is not back testable. You can just ignore this kind of price impact.
Okay, great. And one for Marvin. Marvin asks, it seems that some steps are already coded for us. Do we still need to implement our own code to do the paper trading or separate data into a sample and out of the sample, or this is built in the function of the engine?
Yeah, as just mentioned previously, once you code out your testing script, you can just deploy your script to the live paper trading environment, and there's no need for you to separately code to further amend to the amendment, etc.
Hi.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'm Hindi, and I asked, do we need to consider the latency during the backtesting? And I was asking, should we consider the latency for the high frequency trading strategies?
Actually, on the backtesting platform, what you get the market data, you can assume those when you do submit a market order, you can assume you can execute at that market price. You don't need to consider the latency.
Okay, thanks.
There's another question from Marvin. Oh, that one's already been answered. And from Ken, he asks, how would our limit order considered filled in the real-time paper trade? For example, orders would be filled if the real market order filled at our given price and quantity.
Actually, for the real-time paper trading period, we will based on the live data feed from Binance to do the trade simulation. So when you submit a limit order, our system will real-time monitor whether your order trigger the filling condition.
Got it. And Mankit asked, does the model training, it's also done on the website's Jupyter Notebook? Does it has GPU enabled?
By default, all the data are provided through the platform. So we suppose you can train your model directly on the Jupyter Notebook here. But if you can separately obtain the Binance data, you can also train your model in a local environment. And currently, our system doesn't support GPU. We only support CPU at this moment.
Okay, so two more questions on in chat. One is asking, can we use order book details? And another question also come from Ken, asking if the product nature is perpetual future or do we need to consider funding rate?
So for the order book detail, yes, you can get this kind of information from the tech level information. Let me go to the technical document. Yes. Actually, if you specify the interval as T, you can get the tech information, including the order book information. For the another question about the perpetual future, do we need to consider funding rates? In this condition, you can assume there is no funding cost.
Weipan has another question to add. If GPU is not available, does this mean that it's not feasible to use any deep learning based models?
Actually, in our previous contest, we have some other teams that use deep learning model in the past. They also train their model on Jupyter notebook based on CPU. It is doable.
So hopefully that answers your questions, Wei Peng. If you guys have other questions, maybe we will wait for like another 2 to 3 minutes. If there's any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, or if you have other questions after the sharing, feel free to email us and we will get back to you soon.
There is another question about whether all the group will have the chance to get into stage 2. Is there any selection in the first stage? Actually, for the first one, we require you to submit a training proposal to summarize your training ideas. Actually, we will look into your training proposal whether it makes sense or whether it has some creative idea. So if you so actually don't just copy my RSI strategy presented here. It's okay.
Is there any other questions? If not, yeah, go ahead, Sam. Hi.
Hi, Tony. I wondered, I just checked the Jupyter notebook on the platform, and it shows it has a very limited RAM. So my question is, if our testing system is has so limited RAM, how could we load all the data and run the analyze?
If you want to have more so you mean the resources here, right?
Yeah. We only got.
Yes. If your team require more resources like the storage or RAM, you can send me an email and I will tell my technical team to do the configuration for you.
Thank you very much.
So if there's no more questions, I think that's nearly the end of our sharing today. Like I said, if your group has other questions after the sharing, you might email us. And yeah, so we will answer your questions in the email. And thank you all for joining our sharing sessions today, and good luck in the contest.